Twilight was a generational love story that inevitably spawned a series of similar iterations. So today we're gonna explore not one, not two, but three of them things. And we'll see which is best before arbitrarily crowning it as the best of all Twilight eras, cause who's gonna stop us? Quick note, I've seen The Host and Vampire Academy, but if you put a gun to my head and told me to tell you anything about them, I'd just pull the trigger myself. So this is basically a blind walkthrough / analysis. With that said, let's roll that intro. One last time.
What do you want?
It's not that simple.
What do you want?
Oh!
Bella.
Christian.
So we're in a village in the middle of nowhere. Meet Valerie, our protagonist, and her buddy, Peter. They're gonna be dating in the future, which is right now. Also, they're gonna run away together when, uh-oh, the werewolf is attacking town. Oh, there's a werewolf, by the way. Oh no, they were too late. The wolf killed Valerie's sister, and... Okay, stop. This is already a strange choice, writing-wise. Cause our protagonist is sad and mourning, but neither me or you even knew her sister existed. So how are we as an audience supposed to feel? Sad? Unlikely, we don't know Valerie or her super dead sister. Afraid? How? This girl was attacked by a wild animal, yet there's not a spot on her. She looks like her heart just stopped, which is one of the loveliest ways to go when a werewolf is in the equation. This death is a catalyst for the story, but that doesn't mean we have to waste time establishing it. This movie should have started with a flashback featuring Valerie, Peter, and her sister, then cut to the present day where her sister is just recently dead. That juxtaposition and cut would be a quick way to shock the audience and pull them into the narrative. Alright, go. So apparently Valerie has been betrothed by her mom to this guy, Henry. For money, I guess. Hey, isn't that the daddy from Twilight? It is! Welcome back, big dog. Anyway, Valerie's mom convinces Peter to dump Valerie because he's just a poor, stupid, stinky loser who can't afford her daughter. It takes her like 2 lines of dialogue too, so I don't think Peter is very smart or invested in this relationship. But if he cares about Valerie, he can at least let her down gently.
Don't make this something it's not. Look, we had our fun. That's all it ever was.
I forgot what genre we were in. My fault. The boys are leaving town to hunt down some wolf booty. Apparently they had a treaty with the werewolf where they'd sacrifice animals in exchange for peace. That implies that the werewolf is intelligent, which if true, why attack humans? Just for the love of the game? I mean, it's what I'd do, but I'm literally a Cyberman. Valerie follows her dad and his wolf hunting crew into the woods. She stops at her grandma's house, which is 10,000 miles away from town for some reason, acquiring her iconic cloak. While she does that, let's check in on how the lads are doing. Well, they did it. They saved the city. And it only cost them Henry's stupid dad.
Yikes!
I mean, Henry's sad about it, but who cares about him or his dead papa? Well, Valerie's mom cares. About Henry's dad, at least. Cause she was in love with him before she met Mr. Twilight, and had an affair her husband doesn't know about that resulted in Valerie's dead sister. Pause. Look, at this point, I'm vibing with this movie. Some of the acting and lines are a little rough, and it's a little tamer than what I'd like, but it's not bad. I like the set designs, the environment, and the intrigue is intricate enough to keep my attention. Flowers earned, flowers given. Unpause. So the local priest called in a specialist, Gary Oldman himself, looking like Disney villain number 17.
Wow.
Gary immediately identifies that the wolf these silly villagers killed is actually just a regular wolf, not a werewolf.
Embarrassing.
He then explains that werewolves revert into humans after they die, which he learned after killing his wife.
What?
Oh, he killed his wife, by the way. No time to get into that though, cause it's exposition time. So in this world, werewolves can only make new werewolves if they bite someone the week of the blood moon, which is when this story takes place. Also, they can't step on holy ground and are weak to treats and silver. Also, the werewolf likely lives in the village and could be anyone. But don't worry, our boy Gary intends to find out who's a bad boy by quarantining the village. Too bad nobody cares though, cause it's time to party!
Heck yes!
There's plays, people are getting lit, a drunk guy is humping Valerie's sleeping dad, there's a band. Peter dances with some rando cause he's kind of trash, so to make him jelly, Valerie dances with her friend. Golly gee, my friends, we've got a classic sexy dance-off. Henry, you buzzkill. Peter storms off cause he's kind of childish, but Valerie convinces him to get back with her in like 2 seconds. This idiot will just do whatever the nearest mouth tells him to. Also, Henry watches his fiancée and her boy toy get it on, cause, the two get interrupted and separate. Valerie goes to the party when... Jesus Christ!
Oh my god, he on X Games mode.
Uh-oh, he's cornered Valerie and...
You can't escape from me.
Oh my god.
You can speak? The wolf tells Valerie to run away with it before it runs away. Also, Valerie's friend doesn't speak dog, it's just our girl.
Don't call me a witch. Don't tell him. Of course not.
Bet that won't come back. Gary's minion got bitten, so he receives a stabbing on the house. Peter tries to convince Valerie to run away with him, but she rejects him cause, like, he dumb. Also, Valerie's grandma has the same eyes as the wolf. So many suspects. And here's another. A handicapped boy who poses no threat to anyone. Surely old Gare Bear will be reasonable. The handicapped boy's sister visits the Garester to request her brother's safe return, not knowing he's already dead. And in exchange for this false promise, she outs Valerie as a witch. So it's up to our resident heartthrobs to save her. Oh yeah, here we go. First though, Valerie's grandma accuses Henry of being a werewolf and killing Valerie's sister, who had a crush on him. But Henry accuses her of being a werewolf because she smells like one, which is hilarious. Mr. Oldman puts a weird mask on Valerie's head, then her sexy dance friend comes to say,
Now, you're gonna get what you deserve.
Lady, if you don't take 3 steps back right now? The rescue goes poorly. Gary kills the town priest because he gets in the way, Peter gets thrown into the Roman torture elephant, Henry gets shot, Gary gets his arm bitten off. Valerie makes it to the church though, so the wolf can't do anything and has to run away.
Ouch.
Whereas dearest Garius receives a stabbing on the house. In the morning, Valerie dumps Henry, then heads to her grandma's. But uh-oh, Peter's here and his hand is burned, and he broke out of the elephant somehow. Fair. Totally fair. Valerie goes to her grandma's and... It was Mr. Twilight all along?
Imposible.
When he tried to convert Valerie's sister by talking to her in wolf form, he realized she couldn't understand him. That meant she wasn't his daughter and sent him into a rage that resulted in her demise. Alright, pause. I don't like this reveal. Cause first, Mr. Twilight is barely in this movie. He doesn't speak much or do much other than drink and hang out in the background. So him being the villain means so little to us as an audience, just like his not daughter's death did. And second, there are so many misdirects in this story. So many characters speak in sinister ways or leave clues that would point to them being the culprit, but they're all red herrings. How were we supposed to know that the wolf can only talk to its relatives? I thought it was just choosing to talk to Valerie and not her gal pal. If Mr. Twilight wanted to convert both of his daughters, why didn't he just approach Valerie in a manner similar to his sister instead of threatening her? I mean, I know the answer to that one, it's so the plot could happen. Similarly, if the wolf can't step on holy ground, why didn't G-Olds just order everyone to step inside the church? Or if it only affects someone's wolf form, why not lock everyone in the church every night and see who spontaneously combusts?
We were on the verge of greatness. We were this close.
Peter and Valerie team up to kill Mr. Twilight, but uh-oh, Peter was bitten, so he leaves in order to learn how to control his abilities. But maybe, just maybe, one day he can... Oh, he's back already. I'll save my final thoughts for the end of this video when we compare all three films. For now, let's leap 5 million years into the future for our next installment. The host takes place in the future, right?
Oops.
So aliens have conquered Earth by taking over the bodies of humans. One of the last survivors, Melanie, gets cornered. But no worries, she'll be... Yikes. She didn't die though, so the aliens infect her anyway. 2 L's in less than 5 minutes. Most impressive. Mel's body is taken by an alien called Wanderer. But uh-oh, turns out Mel is still conscious, meaning she's an observer in her own body. What a fresh new form of hell. Pause. This is an interesting concept in theory. Wanderer is a foreign entity forcing itself upon Melanie's mind, and it's using her as a vehicle to explore one life atop the many it already has. So my immediate questions would be, what was Wanderer before? Man, woman, other? How does being in a female body affect its perception of the world? How does it perceive humanity? As children? Vermin? Cybermen? None of this will be explored. Wanderer wanders through Melanie's memories. Apparently in the past, Melanie met a boy who... Yo, he can't do that! Why is he doing that? Someone stop him! Stop this man! Oh god, he's the love interest, isn't he? Oh wait, it's Henry! Welcome back, big dog, you sick freak! Anyway, more memories. Melanie had a brother, she made out with Henry, she had a cowboy uncle. Eventually, Mel convinces Wanderer to escape. They drive into the desert, which goes... Thankfully, the cowboy uncle is here to save the day and his niece. Despite her being an alien, he still takes her to one of the last bastions of humanity. Oh hey, Henry! Meanwhile, the villain, Mrs. Alien, is investigating. And dang, there's kind of a lot of black people in this, huh? And with speaking roles, too. This movie's score is going up. A bunch of guys try to kill Wanderer / Melanie, including Luke from Percy Jackson doing the weakest choke of all time.
Harder.
What?
What?
Wanderer chills with Melanie's brother and... Pause. Okay, listen. 2 problems. Number 1, this movie is incredibly slow. Glacially slow. Number 2, Wanderer and Melanie are pretty much aligned in their goals. That's boring. Wanderer shouldn't be here to just chill. She should be trying to get intel and trying to reach out to other aliens so this place can be wiped out. While Melanie should be trying to convince Wanderer to turncoat by exposing her to human relationships and emotions. That creates a conflict for this movie that adds some much-needed tension while expanding upon Wanderer's character arc. Cause as it is now, she's just kind of a fish out of water, not an entity with its own agenda. Unpause. On a supply run, some of our boys get found out and... Oh, another black guy! Hey, this movie's score is going back up! Well, can't win them all. During the chase, the villain picks up a gun and glorps one of her own on accident. Pause. Look, if these aliens can lose control of themselves and be so affected by the emotions of their hosts, then their whole society falls apart. The entire point is that these things are harmonious because they are largely above human emotions. But if one of them can become so radically violent so easily, why not all of them?
That's gotta be racist. There's no way.
Or at least enough of them to destabilize their civilization. Or is the implication here that there are cracks in these aliens' defenses, and they will inevitably be corrupted by human emotion and succumb to the same issues we have? You know what? Not that kind of movie, Realm Spinner. My fault. Go. Wanderer chit-chats with Henry and...
No, what is he doing? No, Stop it!
Oh, brother, this guy stinks! Meanwhile, Luke actually checks in before going in for the kiss. Great, but you may be wondering why he's even falling for this alien at all. Well, Wanderer finds out that the humans are experimenting on captured aliens to see if they can extract them, which they cannot, so both host and parasite die. Biggest of yikes. Oh, the villain's here. Well, they beat her. Also, it turns out you can extract the alien, you just need to do it with love. Whatever. Wanderer decides she wants to die, and honestly, at this point in the movie, same. It is funny though that everyone tries to convince her not to exit Mel's body.
Don't do it, Wanderer. Melanie is straight garbage.
Yeah, Melanie is awful. She's a freaking ghoul.
If you leave, I'll kill and eat Melanie.
Wanderer gets extracted anyway, but luckily there's a random comatose body on standby that the humans just shove Wanderer into.
Bruh.
Pause. This is what happens when a writer writes themselves into a corner. An unsatisfying deus ex machina. And the worst thing is, this could have easily been set up via the human experimentation stuff from earlier. Also, missed opportunity to put Wanderer into the body of like, an old guy. Or a chicken. You still into that, Luke? Huh? You still horny now that Wanderer is straight up poultry? Wait a minute, why am I doing this bit? Unpause. The gang gets pulled over and lined up and... Wait, is that even Melanie's actress? Is that a body double? The heck? Anyway, turns out they were pulled over by rebel aliens. I don't know why this scene is in the movie, I cut to black. Just cut it. Next movie, next movie. I ain't never seen a movie start in a car without an immediate car crash.
Where am I?
What was that?
Alright, that was a dream. This is our protagonist, Rose, and our deuteragonist, Vasilisa.
I'm still adjusting, Rose. You know, it's been less than a year since we ran away from the academy. 2 years since the crash.
Beautiful exposition team, 6 stars. Our dynamic duo are on the run, but surely they got captured. On the way back to Hogwarts, there's an ambush by these guys called Strigoi, which are vampires but feral. They're dealt with though, and we arrive. Rose is in trouble though, and okay, stop. Good God, it's been 14 minutes and there's so much going on. Rose is a half vampire, or Dampier, so has to protect Vasilisa, who is a full vampire, or Moroi. Vasilisa is the last of a royal line and very close to inheriting the throne. Vasilisa can do mind control, but nobody knows except her. The Moroi can control 4 elements, earth, water, air, and fire, but only one each. Rose and Vasilisa have a telepathic bond, but it's one way in that Rose can see her friend, but Vasilisa cannot see her. This is exactly as overwhelming as it sounds. Oh look, Vasilisa can also heal. And she can also attract a guy that looks suspiciously like Edward Cullen. Meanwhile, Rose trains with her mentor, Dimitri. She hangs out with our heroes feed on humans. In this universe, some humans volunteer to be fed on because it's like, sexual. But they're being bitten by children.
Wait a minute!
The gang goes to church when someone plays a prank. Rose suspects the bully, but she's too busy getting laid. Too busy having a vision of Vasilisa. Look, you know how the host was incredibly slow? Well, Vampire Academy is blazingly fast. Scenes don't end in this movie, they just slide into the next. It's hard to keep up because this film doesn't give you time to breathe. Like in the next scene, Vasilisa is getting bullied and protected by Edward Cullen, then Vasilisa and Rose talk, but that's interrupted by, good God, a real-life vampire. Then that is interrupted by Rose having a vision, then that is interrupted by the Queen arriving at the school. It doesn't stop, it never stops! My assumption is that this movie had a lot of ground to cover as a book adaptation, but the writers should have been more aggressive in what they cut in order to slow the pacing down to something more manageable. Anyway, the Queen berates Vasilisa for being a loser. Then Vasilisa goes home only to see she's been pranked again. So she decides to go on the offensive and start mind-controlling people into friendship. Ooh. Rose spars with her mentor, who pins her and... Wait a minute. What's the age gap here? She's 17 and he's 24?
FBI, open up!
Rose confronts Vasilisa about her mind control shenanigans, which goes, well.
Anymore. This is about you. This is
But when Rose wakes up, she's fully healed, and Vasilisa has done a heel turn and decided not to do mind control anymore. Which was fast. Blazingly fast. Alright, time for prom. Rose is about to hook up with a grown man, but they discover that someone's given them a love charm. You've beaten the allegations this time, bucko, but you're on thin ice. Vasilisa is kidnapped by this old guy who wants her to heal him, so our gang go to rescue her.
I believe you can fly.
You know what it's like to always be referred to as the second best guardian?
Now.
Rose confronts the old man in jail, but uh-oh, their friend turned into a super vampire, and she's dead. Vasilisa gives a speech, and Dmitri confesses that he's in love with a child?
I'm calling the police! Hello? Yes, this video right here. Jail time.
Vampire Academy is messy. That's the best way to put it. Honestly, the story would have massively benefited from an additional 15 to 20 minutes. Cause it isn't without merit. Some of the lines are funny.
It's a Scion. Rose thinks everything's a Scion.
What's a Scion?
Rose Hathaway is fun and engaging. The concept of a school full of royal houses that are at each other's throats, both literally and figuratively, is a ripe bed for intrigue. Especially when you throw magic and supernatural elements into the mix. It's no wonder that this was converted into a TV show, because that's a far better medium to explore these concepts than the constraints of a theatrical release. Too bad I'm not watching it! Look, there are ways to fix this movie, like making Vasilisa not just the closest to the throne but one of many contenders, cutting the Strigoi to save for a sequel and hinting at them to increase their ominous aura, and cutting the old guy as a villain to replace him with our hero's friend, who can be a duplicitous throne contender. But I'm not here to fix, I'm here to judge. Vampire Academy has my favorite protagonist out of these three, but its pacing and overwhelming lore dumps diminish its allure. If it focused more on the essential parts of its world and its deuteragonists, I wouldn't even mind if it had less action and more intrigue, or even less action and more drama. A solid base exists here that just needed something better built upon it. Red Riding Hood, on the other hand, takes a simple, straightforward story and makes it into something that somehow has more intrigue and better characters. It benefits from the simplicity of its world, although it does stumble to explain even the barest of elements in regards to lycanthropy. Still, the story here is undoubtedly the best out of all three. The Host probably has the strongest romance out of all three of these films. In part because Vampire Academy barely has a romance, and Red Riding Hood focuses more on lust than love, but by God does this movie squander an interesting premise, and by God is it breathtakingly boring. But it did have the most black people. Hey, you know what? The Host wins, guys. Yeah, it's over. Realm of Love is over. Go home.